Hey everybody, it's Hope Wiseman, and we're here in Brooklyn, New York at the Crown Hill Theater, here for the Happy to Connect Summit. We are here talking about everything from seed to sale, from the regulations that govern our industry, the science behind the industry, and even the entrepreneurial side and the business side behind the industry, which I might happen to be an expert at. So let's get started. Hello everybody. My name is Hope Wiseman. I am the founder and CEO of Marion, Maine, which is a dispensary in Maryland, in Capitol Heights, Maryland. I started this business, like Chris alluded to, with my mother, who has been, my rock the whole time. Couldn't have done it without her. And it's interesting, I was just talking to two people in the audience about when I applied for my license. It was a competitive, merit-based application process. It was extremely competitive, and I had no idea who I was competing against and what I was up against. I'm very glad I didn't, because I think I would have been too nervous had I understood the giants I was going up against. It was interesting because New York was actually one of the first states that had a competitive licensing process for medical, right before Maryland did. And New York was crazy. I mean, you had to have like a $5 million surety bond back then. And the people that ultimately won those licenses, most of them sold the paper for millions of dollars too. So those are the things I was hearing about, which sparked my interest in the industry. So my interest originally just came from, at the end of the day, I was a cannabis user, heavy at the time, and I was also super high performing, working in finance. I saw it as a way to kind of marry my two worlds into one. I don't even think I understood the criminal justice reform that needed to happen and kind of the correction of the war on drugs. I don't think I understood that yet. I only understood the economic opportunity for my family. And like I said, a way for me to merge my two worlds together. So I went after the license, and I quickly realized, wow, this is extremely expensive going through the process. So as I was, like I said, I was going through a merit-based competitive application process. So that meant that I was hiring consultants. We had to secure real estate. We had to get floor plans and, actually take it a step further. We had to get MEP drawings done, all of these things before we applied. So this was all at-risk capital. At the end of the day, had we lost, that money would have gone poof, and I might as well have lit it on fire. Luckily, that did not happen, but I'll say the biggest struggles that we experienced when we got in the game, we quickly realized we won our license alongside what are now some of the biggest publicly traded companies in the industry. They were putting millions of dollars behind their businesses before they even opened. And, I remember when we finally got to the point where it was time to order product, we had like $70,000 left in the bank. And I realized we had to spend every dime on our product. That was scary for me. Hearing about what my peers were doing and all the people they were hiring, and the people with experience from other industries, people who run regional departments of the limited brands or all these things. And it was me and my mom, longtime family friends, that essentially opened my store. Those things have all benefited us, being lean, not spending too much money. Because when I say lean, I mean we were lean in employees. It was literally like 5 people doing everything in the beginning. We were also lean in money. We were lean in product. We were lean in everything. We didn't do a crazy build out for our store, all of which have come back and really helped us survive and thrive in this space. So that is, my little tidbit of advice to those of you that are first getting started. Don't worry about what everyone else is doing and how amazing it may look or how sexy it may look. I promise you, they are sweating behind closed doors. Some of the biggest names that we used to know, MedMen, no longer exist because they spent too much money, hired too many people, moved too fast. So I would say run your own race. Yeah, I have a lot more, but that's what I think.
Multiple markets. What has been some of the challenges dealing with regulators? What are some of the things you you're dealing with regulators, and advice to our audience here about navigating what really is a well-regulated market, like cannabis. So, whoever wants to start.
You both looked at me. So the first thing I'll say is that regulations continuously change, right? And especially all of these markets are new. They are still developing. You also have a unique opportunity right now to influence the regulations that you have to abide by. So I encourage everybody to get out there at the legislative level, go out, lobby for what you want to hear and see. And then even at the regulatory level with the administration, commission, whatever it's called in your state, you can influence those as they're being developed too. They normally have listening periods. And if you develop good relationships with the regulators and legislators, you could potentially really make some changes. But for me, I think one of the biggest challenges that I've dealt with regulations are just regulations that don't make sense. And a lot of the times, at the end of the day, these people that are making them are not the entrepreneurs and the business owners themselves, right? Or consumers most of the time, right? So most of them have never even been in a dispensary. They've never been in a manufacturing center. They've never been in a grow. They certainly don't understand the culture of the plant. So we can't even go there. I find myself just educating constantly, and whether that is my customer, educating them on why I can't do something, because especially the customer, they're probably the least educated, especially on the regulations and all of the laws that you have to follow than anyone, and they just get upset. They're pissed if they can't use their credit card and tap to pay, or if they gotta, whatever it is, they gotta wait in the line. Why can't I smell the weed, depending on what state you're in? They're just not gonna get it. So having that, me as a retailer, the customer service side of it is like a whole nother level than in another industry, having to explain all these things that feel foreign to consumers. But I'd say that what the exciting part is just that the point that I get to influence the regulations. And me as a Black woman who won my license, not through a social equity program or with any type of preference, a lot of states have come to me and asked for, what have been your struggles? What are the things that are, make it more difficult for you as a Black woman? And I do believe that I've seen the industry shift to being more friendly to minority-owned businesses and just to small businesses in general. I think New York has done a really good job. Yes, the rollout has been slow, but in general, I think that the regulations make for an industry where people can actually make some money. Okay, so my name is Hope Wiseman. I am the most active on Instagram. I am Hope So Dope. People started calling me that in middle school, by the way. I did not make that up. And then my store is Mary and Maine. And then my coaching community is Legal and Licensed. Yes.